Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for joining me once again. You're always most welcome. Well, today something a bit different. One of the latest kits just come out of ICM in the Ukraine. Very interesting little vehicle. It's a World War II German Maultier Einheitsfahrenhaus, which is basically translated as a single deck driving truck. Basically, it's like a pickup truck. It's a multi-purpose vehicle, but what makes it interesting is it's a half track, and I must confess I haven't really seen one of these before that I can think of. Now we've also got, I'll just get this out of the way if I may, also got from ICM their item number 3038, which is one of their wonderful acrylics paint ranges. Now I have to confess I still haven't got around to using these yet, but I only just started my modelling season, so sorry for being a bit behind the curve, so to speak. But they've come out with for this vehicle and for many others. They've done a few German trucks and things now, so they've come out with this rather nice acrylic paint set, and it includes their German grey, beige, which is certainly something you've used on here, white grey, hull red, dark green. Does it say US dark green? I'm going to look at that in a second. And varnish gloss. So you've got everything you need to do these vehicles. So I'm going to have a quick look at them. In fact, there you go. I didn't even notice this there. Look at this. So it just shows you 3 examples of the vehicles that you would put these on. And there's the one we're reviewing today is on the right hand side. So that's absolutely brilliant, isn't it? And it's also got the conventional version. That's not the Maultier. It's not got the half track. It's just got normal road wheels. And then also there's the Krupp. It's like a field command vehicle for General Rommel or whoever, you know. Anyway, let's have just a quick look at them. I'm not going to open them because there's no point really at this point. And we'll get stuck into the review of the. It says open it if you can. We'll get stuck into the review of the kit. Is that the right way that I'm opening it? Yes, it is. I don't want to come open. Okay. Let's have a look now. So we've got a varnish gloss. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in total. The last one does not want to leave, and that's the German grey. So let's have a quick nosy. German grey, here we go. Yeah, so I say I'm going to have a go at these. ICM have given me a whole series of these paints now for applicable to some of the kits that I've been showing you. So we've got German grey there, we've got the varnish gloss there, we've got beige, and white grey. Very good for your winter camo. Whole red. That's quite again, that's very popular on some of these sort of Normandy and late in the sort of Soviet campaign. And it's US dark green. I'm not sure the Germans were actually using US dark green, but maybe ICM feel that the shade is, although they've called it US dark green, perhaps they feel that the shade is the right shade, the way that they have produced it. So there we have it. It's not nice of them to bring us those in, and they're in these nice little pots which are fairly small and not too cumbersome, not too tall, so they're not going to get knocked over too easily, which is always nice, especially with me, because I have a nasty habit of having. I don't tend to have accidents on the model itself, but I do have a few accidents just sort of off camera, if you know what I mean. In terms of no, hang on a second. I don't just mean champagne accidents. I mean with paint. I've had a few over the years where we've spilt solvent in one case. I used solvent cleaner, spilt that on one of my models, but luckily I was so fast to dry it off, and I was able to sand it, let it dry and then sand it back, and it didn't actually eat into too much of the model. I'm trying to think which one it was though. I don't think it was one of the racing cars. I think it was an aircraft. It might have been the Might have been the ME163, I can't remember. Anyway, luckily I managed to correct it, but I know I spilled a lot on the floor and on the table, and we've had horrible gloopy paint drop on the carpet, etc, etc. Anyway, I digress. So let's have a look at this rather interesting truck. So it's kit number 35410. And doesn't it look nice? On the side we've got 3 options for you. We've got what looks like almost like a North African stroke. It's like the standard German yellow-green, isn't it, that they used as a standard colour. Then we've got the camo version with those paints, of course, that we've just talked about. So what would that be? That would be the beige. They'd call it beige. This is in ICM parlance rather than RLM. The beige, and then you've got the beige, and you've got the US green and hull red. There's those 3 paints there, and then here you've got the white grey. So there you go, with a bit of I think there's a bit of beige in there, just to, you can see where it's been overpainted. That's quite clever. A bit of weathering, perhaps a bit of chipping on there would look quite nice. On the other side we've got a full write-up, so I'll zoom you back while I read this, so you don't have to read and listen at the same time. Nice to have a vehicle that's a bit more interesting. Quite an oddball one, you might say. So it says the V3000S has a 95 horsepower V8 gasoline engine, so a petrol engine, which was launched at the Ford plant in Cologne. The Ford plant in Cologne? I didn't know that. Okay. In 1941. Production continued until the end of World War II, with the total production run of more than 25,000 of them. This truck was used by the German Army and the Air Force and the Navy. So even the Kriegsmarine were using it. The vehicle had only rear-wheel drive, so it has insufficient off-road capability. Right, because it'll just sort of dig in at the front, that's what they mean. Oh, that's a bit of a blow, isn't it? I didn't realise that. That's a bit of an error, really, for them, I would have thought. It says to solve this problem, okay, stay with me on this. 14,000 of these trucks, therefore, were produced in the Maultier semi-tracked version. This gets round the issue of its ability to traverse in mud, water, etc. And this was designated 3000S/SSM. Along with the tracks, the Maultier was also equipped with brake levers, which allowed the truck to turn on the spot like a tank. Starting in 1943, simplified cabs, the Einheitsfahrenhaus, so it's the cab, okay, were installed on the trucks to simplify and reduce the cost of production. When they say cab, I think they mean the back end. Anyway, it says on the Wehrmacht trucks, this simplified the cost of production and reduced waste. In turn, the 3000S has the semi-track trucks were equipped with such cabs as well. Okay. Okay, so no, I'm sorry, I am wrong. It's a very simple cab. It's almost like a cab that you'd use on a construction site. So they are a very basic sort of a pressed steel cab dropped onto a truck. Okay, so that's what they mean. Very interesting. Right, well, without further ado, enough of me misinterpreting it wrongly, let's have a look and do the seals. And we'll have a proper look at this, because ICM do some lovely little... they do some nice figures, and they're doing some very nice vehicles. And this is what I was saying. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and I said that it's been a very disappointing year overall for kit releases from big manufacturers, but not from ICM. They have been, as you know from my channel, they've been coming out with 2 or 3 interesting new kits every month. Every month, literally. I get a newsletter from them saying this is this month's latest launches. And there's always something really interesting, 2 or 3 at least, that I want to get my hands on and show you. So I don't understand why other manufacturers, especially when you think about ICM and their predicament in their country at the moment, which is very unfortunate, and the sooner it ends the better for everybody, I think. But they're managing to do this, and then we've got British, German, Japanese, Korean manufacturers. They are really struggling to get stuff out, and have had a very limited, low output this year, which has been very disappointing. I'm talking to you, Airfix, really. and Tamiya, you know. You expect more from those manufacturers, and here's a company that's got terrible difficulties in their country, and they are producing wonderful results. So I think that they should be applauded. I'm not trying to knock the others particularly, but you know, I'm sure that when I come to do my Let's Talk About ICM video, don't be afraid, it'll be fine. I think we know what will get said. It's probably fairly predictable, but yeah, because those facts I've just talked about will be a consideration. So I think I'll go very gently, and rightly so, because they deserve a lot of credit. Anyway, so let's have a look what we've got. So we've got that same write-up, which we've already had, and it tells you about the paint set, which is indeed that one, that being the recommended paint set. So let's just have a look at the instructions. Woo! Got some decals, we'll come to those in a second. And we've got, because there are three different variants of it, you can see that on the sprue mat that they are telling you that some of these won't be applicable and are blanked out. And then basically you've got building up your chassis rail, starts on the instructions straight away here. Building the chassis rail for both sides, and then you've got all these mounting points, of course, that go along the side. Then you've got the cross members going in here. You've got leaf spring, good old leaf springs coming in for the suspension. And then you're going to build up your engine and gearbox, which looks quite good at this scale, doesn't it? Yeah, that looks very good. And you've got your carburetors and your air filter coming in here. And then we've got things like the alternator, we've got the fan, starter motor, we've got the gear change on the gearbox, the shifter, direct shift, straight from the gearbox, straight into the cab, of course. And then we've got what looks like, I think we've got plastic on this one. Yes, now then, this looks really good. So I did, just zoom back to this, I did make tiny criticism recently when I was looking at some of these other vehicles from ICM, like the German staff car, and I said that I didn't think that the rubber tyres were a good thing. That was one of the only things I really found on it that sort of left a bit of disappointment, because it's quite hard to form them. They did do a nice job in the actual moulding, but they never quite look the same, and you can't get things like, you know, fine detailed lettering and things like that on the tyres. Whereas when you do them in plastic, they always look, as a finished kit anyway, they always do look a bit better, I think, generally. And that's what they've done here. They've actually changed and gone to plastic. So again, definitely something to be celebrated, I think. And you can see we've got like an outer here, and then we've got the inner part, the sidewall going in as a separate part, and that's the spare, I guess, that's going in there. It's going to go underneath the chassis. Then we've got our radiator here coming in, and it looks like there's two different versions of the radiator. The options there. And then we have got our mounting of the radiator, complete with cooling pipes going to the engine, A or B, and then we've got some, what have we got here? Is that the suspension, or I've got a little bit, I'm not sure what that is actually, 18D. Oh no, it's the front, it's the, no it's not, it's the rear, it's the towing eye at the back, sorry, this bit, number 18. It's the pin, so it can tow, towing pin, towing eye. Then we're going to build up our wheels and tyres. As I mentioned, they are nicely in injection molded plastic, so I think they'll probably look a bit more realistic. Then we've got our steering mechanism and the steering rack going in there. Popping in our front wheels there, under the engine. And we've got a great big old exhaust here. And we're going to, it's got mounting points under the chassis. And then we've got what looks like the framework for the mounting of the actual the pickup section at the back, the load area. And then we're going to have, this is where it starts to look like a tank, doesn't it? So starting to do drive wheels, like on a Tiger tank or whatever, or a Hanomag, shall we say. And then we've got the little road wheels and the suspension and the springs going in there. And then you're building up, it's like a little separate chassis it's built onto, so you've got idler wheel at the back, drive wheel at the front, and then you've got these road wheels in between with suspension bogies. And actual tracks, proper track, length and link track. That's interesting. I like that. That's going to make it not too arduous. You've just got your links when it goes around the drive sprocket. That's great. And then you're bringing that in here, and it drives off like a transfer shaft that comes out the back of the gearbox, of course. Then you're building up this rather rudimentary cabin, which they were talking about at some length as being this very utilitarian design. Dropping in your windscreen, building up your side panels, which will drop in over the engine. Don't forget it's got an engine, detail engine. So it'll drop over the top. And you've got your instrument panel on the inside bulkhead, and I say instrument panel, there's not that many, is there? And you've got your steering wheel going in, putting in the seat mounting there, cushion, and then this very utilitarian side. It's like a pressed steel structure, isn't it? Almost like a porter cabin. Then at the back, on the back bulkhead, you've got the backrest of the seats, and then you bring it all in together, complete with your roof and your back wall, and the doors, which again look very utilitarian indeed, and the windows going in. Then we're going to build up our bonnet, upside down here, and you turn it the right way up. Bonnet goes in, and then the top of the radiator cover goes on there. And then we've got two different designs, as you can see, A or B. Excuse me. And there's some helpful stuff here showing what the clearance should be. Oh, excuse me, I'm just going to have a quick gulp of tea. Oh. We've got some cold weather at the moment, and it's making me cough a bit. Not actually ill, don't worry. And then we've got running boards and the mud guards going in on the wings, around the actual wheels, where the wheels will go. You've got your headlights going in, your little indicator lights, and then the main headlights going on the front of those mud guards there. You've got the military headlight, blackout headlight, going in there. It's going to go on the left-hand side, and you've got wiper blades going on, which looks good. It's a detailed kit. This is really nice. And you got a little, I think it's a spare fuel tank on the side. Spare fuel tank, or is it the fuel tank? I think it might actually be the fuel tank. And then you've got your loading area, which is like a timber, so you could perhaps do some wood effects on this, which will look nice. And it's got cross members underneath where it's going to mount onto the chassis, of course. So you're looking at this upside down at the moment. And yeah, it was the fuel tanks, as you can see. Mud guards at the back going on there. And then you've got the rollover hoops when they want to put a tarpaulin over the top. And then at the end, you bring it all together and you drop that. I like the unitary construction. I think it'll work well on this. So instead of having something that you've got to build up with lots of fiddly detail, you're doing separate units and then like a modular construction, and then dropping them all together at the end. You bring your cab down on top of your engine and chassis, and then you pop your load area at the rear down on top of it as well, and then you end up with your finished product. Wow. Well, I've got to say, zoom out a bit, got to say I'm quite impressed with this. Let's have a look at the colour call-outs. We've got one here in IG44 with your standard sort of German yellow-green. Panzer yellow, they call it. I never got the terminology quite right. Then you got the camouflage version, which of course, I say, you'd use the paint set that we have, the acrylic paint set for German armour trucks. And then on the back one, you've got the winter option, and this is what does it say here? Winter colour version 1944. So that's the sort of thing you might see probably in the Ardennes campaign. Isn't that nice? Well, got to say, very impressed with the instructions this time. I think they're a bit more self-explanatory than one or two of their others. Seems very clear indeed. Looks like it's got plenty of detail. Looking good, looking very good. So let me just move that aside. I shall get the plastic out for you. Just my fingers and thumbs aligned. Let's have a look at these decals. And what we have here is some nice number plates. And of course you've got your instruments, which they look rather good actually. Also got some stenciling on the side, talking about the gross weights and things. I think it gives you the fuel capacity, gross weights, 2.85 tonnes it looks like. And then you've got some Wehrmacht markings there as well. Short but sweet, looks very good. Can't see anything wrong with them. And then we'll have a look at the plastic. So we've got one big bag. So you have this big old bag here. Let's have a look what we got. I do like the fact I don't have to. The only time I have to use a knife on ICM is just to cut the tape on the seal at the beginning, and I don't have to normally because they have a nice resealable bag, which I wish everybody did. Really do, because I think ICMs are very good. They've got the packaging just right, I think. I think it's just evolved into a really nice setup. So we've got clear parts. I think we'll start with them. Clear parts, which are basically the windows for the cab, and don't forget it's quite a utilitarian sort of window and cab. I'm delighted to tell you there's no flaws on these, unlike the other that Kozak, although that soon got fixed for us, didn't it? But these are nice, and again, we were talking recently about the mini art clear parts not being perhaps quite as good as I expected. And under my 20 zoom, yeah, you can see the tiniest flaw where the injection moulding occurs, and it flows in from the sprue. You can see it, can't you? But that is, I can tell you now, but with my human eye, that's not really visible at all. And I'm not just saying that. And I've got some very good glasses, and I can tell you they were very expensive. And that's just barely visible. It's just the camera does it. It's very good at picking up flaws on clear parts, I have to say. You can just see it there. Not to emphasise it, but to the human eye, these are just beautiful. I've got to say, they're crystal clear, lovely. So don't be put off by what you saw there, because in this case, I don't think it's an issue at all. You've got your headlamp glass, of course, as well. I know that flat glass like this is actually very simple to mould, relatively, in terms of the challenge. Whereas, you know, we were recently talking about Thunderbolts from Mini Art, and that was, yeah, didn't quite meet the expected quality, but other people's does, doesn't it? So I don't buy the arguments that were put forward by other people about that, to be honest. It's not that complicated. If Tamiya can do it, and Mini Art can do them, it's not that difficult, is it? Let's have a look at this. Oh, I think Mini Art's vehicles just seem to be getting better and better, genuinely. They provided this kit free of charge. I am not giving it some glowing report because of that. If I see flash, I'm going to show you flash. That's not normally the case here, but we'll have a look. But I promise you, they are just getting better and better. You know, it's a pleasure to do these reviews for them. Look at this. There's a big sprue here, actually. Look at the fine detail here. So we've got our bonnet, which is really nice, and they have this quite nice hardish plastic. It's a little bit Tamiya-like, the plastic, I'd say. You've got those mud guards there, and then there's the rollover hoop. They've designed the actual sprue quite cleverly, actually. They've utilised space well. And then look at this. You've got this lovely grille. How does it actually go? Is it that way? No, it's that way up. In fact, that's oops. It's that way up. That's the right orientation. Isn't that nice? And then you've got your running boards here, look, on your front wing stroke mud guards. And then you get your internals here on the doors, complete with door handles. Don't worry about those blemishes in the plastic, that's just within the mould itself, it's not on the surface, nothing. And then you've got your front of the cab. Again, exquisite moulding. You've got the doors, look. Now hang on a second, I've just realised. These doors are from the normal truck, not this later version, the utilitarian half-track version. But anyway, we'll look at them anyway. But aren't they nicely moulded, those? It's such a shame you don't get to use them. Although the parts are here if you wanted to make a combo. I'm sure you could. Anyway, move on from that. And then we've got the bench seat over here. And we have got the rear of the cab here, complete with the window. Yeah, it's just really nicely moulted, I've got to say, it's gorgeous. So that's that one. Then we've got a second optioned sprue, and I think, if I'm honest, yeah, this is actually the right sprue. So there's parts on there, as I just alluded to, that are not used. These are the doors. So these are perhaps not as groovy looking. They're a bit more utilitarian, these doors. They're just a square door, aren't they? Almost like what you get in, I don't know, an office or something. A porter cabin. And then again we've got the bench seat. And then we've got some instrumentation here, plus the top of the radiator. That's the part, the top here is the bit that goes, attaches to the bonnet and lifts up with the bonnet. There's your instruments, of course. Your dashboard, and then you've got your radiator. The radiator itself rather than the cover. And then here you've got your running board area, which is a bit shorter on this version. This is the right sprue for this particular variant, and then you've got this, as I say, utilitarian, very flat cab. And here again, lacking the subtlety of the shapes, it's a very plain rear bulkhead with a rear window. So yeah, it really does a very basic sort of military vehicle type of thing, but you've still got some nice wiper blades. Look how fine the moulding is here. Wiper blades, aren't they nice? And again over here some nice fine parts as well. And there's no flash here. Beautiful. Okay, that's that one. Then we've got, those of you that don't like tanks might want to look away now, because we've got links, tracks. But it's not too bad, is it? It's length and link. But just look at the beauty of the moulding on these track links. Look at the accuracy and the finesse of this. You know, that is very, very well done. That is absolutely knockout. I mean, that's incredible. And then we've got all these individual links that you're going to have to do for going around the sprocket drive wheel. And there's quite a few of them, I better warn you. There's a load over here. And then if we turn it round, there's more and more and more. And it's not endless. Let's be fair, it's not endless. They've designed this in quite a clever way, I think, actually. But again, look at the moulding quality here. It's absolutely brilliant. That's fantastic. Let's get a bit closer. And look at the lack of flash. You know, we were talking about mini art and people were saying, no, it's not that. But well, this is superior. This is superior. And don't get me wrong, we're not knocking mini art. Another nice company in the Ukraine that do interesting things. But I did say in my review, I think at the end, I said I think that ICM are better. Ignore the fact that I was given this for no charge. Just look at it with your eyes. The evidence is all there in front of you. Look at the exhaust system. Beautiful. This is like Tamiya. Look at it. Look at the little springs, look, for the suspension. And you've got the bogies here, bogie arms. You've got your axle, transaxle, axle I should say. And then you've got your idler wheels. Are they the road wheels? So those are the road wheels, not the idler wheels. Yeah, the idler wheels are down here. Those are the idler wheels, the smaller ones. And you've got like return tensioning wheels here. That is probably the best sprue from ICM I've yet seen. I think it is. It's absolutely amazing quality. Look at it. It's staggeringly good. That's really nice. And then you've got the framework here for the loading area at the back. That's actually blown me away, that sprue. The quality of the detail, the sharpness of those parts, you know, the springs and the tracks that are hollow, you know, that's really nice. You know, I know it's 1/35th, obviously, this one, but that has exceeded my expectations quite a bit. That's the nicest sprue from ICM I think I've seen yet. and they just seem to keep getting better. As I say, I'm not saying that because I was given the kit without charge either. You just turn the sound off and just look at it with your eyes. It's all there, isn't it? It's absolutely amazing. And we've got another one here. Look at this. Look at the fineness and the lack of flash. Yeah. As I say, I did moan about Mini Art recently. There was a bit of flash on theirs, and there's nothing like that here at all. Oh. I am very, very impressed. Look at all these tiny parts. Yeah. This is like kind of Zokiboro sort of quality, or Ryefield. They're good at small parts, aren't they? Look at the detail. Look at the exhaust. Back box for the exhaust. You've got all parts of different options for the exhaust here. You've got your steering system here, suspension steering. That's really nice. Got jerry can here. Got the engine and gear, but there is just a tiny bit of flash just on the. Oh no, there isn't. it was just loose. It was. I think it attracted to it by static electricity. I thought there's a piece of flash on there, and it's just blown off. So there isn't any flash. Not on the parts anyway. Yeah, look at that. Wow, look at the steering wheel. This has surprised me. I thought it was going to be another nice one, but it's exceeding expectations. I think I know what rating it's going to get already. It's going to be very high. That's beautiful. Another beautiful sprue. And then you've got at the end here, you've got this is your chassis rail member for the side of the chassis. Another outstanding sprue. And another kit this is reminding me of is Gecko. It's very like the Gecko quality, isn't it? Look at these wheels and tyres. Let's have a look at that. Oh yes. And again, there's a bit of flash that's it's just on my finger. Can you see it? It's just attracted by a bit of. Whoops. Get that on the camera. It's just a bit of static electricity picked it up from the sprue frame. Just look at those. Those are going to look absolutely brilliant. Very nicely moulded. On the other side, you can see the reverse side here. And then you've got your loading area here, so this is the bit you can do your wood effects on if you want to do some wood effect sort of training. Now, there is a bit of flash. I've just spotted some now. I did say I would say if I saw it. I won't fib to anybody. Look, there's just a tiny bit of flash here around that. It's one of the cross members that supports the load area. Just picked up a bit of flash from the mould there, hasn't it? And maybe just a touch there as well. Just a touch there. It's not quite as good as a mould to this particular frame as the other one is. But look at the great big wooden load platform here. Planked. Oops, lost a bit of focus. There we go. I think it's just struggling because it's such a big area of planking. Looks nice, doesn't it? Yeah, there is just a tiny bit of cleanup on just 2 or 3 of those parts, that's all. And then these are the internals for your wheels. Doesn't actually have any branding on the tyres, but it doesn't matter really, does it? Don't think it matters. And again, you've got the side here of the planked wooden load area at the back. Very, very nice. Excellent. Well, this one sprue just has a tiny bit of flash on 2 or 3 of the parts, doesn't it? So I think it's going to lose a 1/4 of a point for that, I'm afraid. But the rest had no flash. You know, it's really flash-free, noticeably so. Especially on the I think what's happened here, I think we've actually got a mixture of very new tool and not so new tool. And I think this one that's got the wheels and the load area, which has got the flash on it, is, I think that's maybe 3 or 4 years old. And the one that's so superb, is the very latest tooling, 423. So because obviously the new tool is the part with the half-track system, that's the latest part and that's the latest quality, which is why it's free of flash. So I think I know where I'm going with this. It was going to get 9.75 out of 10, only shying off the 10 because of the instructions don't give quite as much detail as I would like. So until that changes, it's probably never going to be a 10 for these. but very, very close. And I have to knock it off another quarter. So I'm going to go with 9.5 out of 10 because I think that's fair. I don't think you can find too much to argue with. Some of those parts are like something from Ryefield or maybe, Tacom, maybe better than Tacom, I think. I was very surprised by the quality there. Above and beyond what I had anticipated. So that is a revelation, really. And if they can carry on at ICM making these armoured vehicles and they get some tanks out and things, it could be a major force, I'm not suggesting they do a Tiger tank necessarily, but you know what I mean? Some more armoured vehicles, because those tracks are sublime. As good as anything you've ever seen, I would suggest. So 9.5 out of 10 for me. Wonderful kit, that. Wonderful. I think you build that up, it will look absolutely amazing with a nice paint job on it. Using ICM's paints, which are there. What's not to like? Brilliant. Well done, ICM. I say again, this was provided free of charge. Nothing to do with that. You don't need to heed my opinion. You make up your own mind. You've seen the parts. There are quite a few bits of flash on my desk, I've noticed, because I mentioned there's lots of static, and I was thinking they're on the parts. Most of it's just off the frame. More than usual, actually, I've got to say. But no, I think overall, and that's retailing at about, I think it's about £23, £24, something like that, ish, in the UK. That's a lot of kit there, a lot of fun, a lot of enjoyment, and when you've got such precision moulded parts, and you're not, yes, there are literally a handful of parts you probably need to clean flash off, but most of that kit is totally free of it, and frankly, you'd enjoy putting that together. It's so crisply done, the detail, it'll look brilliant when you finished it, I think. Make a nice kit. Not a weekend build though, I don't think. Maybe a week or two. Anyway, well done ICM. Thanks very much to you for providing the kit. Thank you all for watching. I hope that you'll give me 10 out of 10, which this got very close to, didn't it? 10 out of 10 for the video. I hope you found it interesting. As I say, these guys are getting better and better. Every vehicle they seem to produce seems to be better than the last one. It really does. So I'm very optimistic about ICM if they can just survive and hang in there, given all the problems that they've got around them. I would love to just say to them, keep doing what you're doing, keep developing, because it's brilliant. You can see the improvements, coming with kit after kit. Fantastic work, so thanks a lot. Hope you all enjoyed it and found it interesting. There'll be more of these coming very soon. We've got another host of them coming through from ICM in the next 3 or 4 weeks. So plenty more interesting stuff to come. We've even got a Hanomag half-track. I think it's the German hospital ambulance version, medical, with the red crosses on it, which is much nicer than the usual crosses that it has on. So something to look forward to, and then plenty more of them, so stay tuned. Thank you very much for joining me. Until I see you again, thanks for your time for watching. Take care of yourselves. Thanks a lot, and bye for now.